Okay, interesting little developments. Interesting. What shall I start with? I'll do the notes first. There's literally only like one or two, and they're about 5 words each, so let's do that. That's 2, and then about 10 words. It says, wow, so on top of the haptic glove, Smarter Every Day has now shown a company making my exact idea for an omnidirectional treadmill. They're using the exact same idea I had back in year 10. So yes, I remember, what was it called? Infinideck, they've called it. Anyway, I remember having that exact idea back when I was playing Halo in year 10, and eventually seeing, I always had the vision of, I had a vision of VR before it was an even public thing, mate. I just remember trying to come up with somewhat. I remember being in chemistry and explaining it to someone and then just not getting it. I think it was Leo. Leo's a smart guy as well, but wasn't on board with it. So yes, I seem to remember it being pretty much the exact same idea they have of treadmills within treadmills. So one small like individual treadmills going to the side, and then one big treadmill made up of all those individual treadmills. But the other idea, which I think is the one that I put in, I think I've talked about it on here, one of these before. The other version I had was of balls, so lots of balls. Love balls, me. Kind of, what's the best way to describe it? Balls or ball bearings, I guess you could call them anyway. And then there's like a flat panel on top of them with holes, which the balls sit in, obviously, so that they can't come through the top of it. So it's just the top of the ball is exposed. And then on the layer beneath, so there's a layer with a load of holes, like a kind of cheese grater or a colander, flat colander. A load of holes for the balls where your feet make contact with the top of the balls, right? Then below that layer with all the holes in is the actual balls. And then below the balls, and this is probably where it makes it an awful lot easier just to have the treadmills within treadmills idea. But anyway, I just think you could potentially have more control with the balls, and also you could actually create different landscapes with the ball things, because they're all individual, so you could move them up and down on a kind of grid. Terrain, you could make different terrains and stuff, but it's not really that important. So the layer of balls beneath, and then beneath a layer of balls is, like, for each ball has 4 small rollers around it, rubber rollers, so which control the direction. You can spin it forwards, backwards, left and right, and left and forwards, and left and backwards, and forwards and forwards and right and back. So yeah, that's that idea. That's probably not a very good description for visualising it, but whatever. I wonder if I should start the Life Worth Living Society. So just like the global community idea, I think that might be a nice little thing for someone to do. Life Worth Living Society, because now that I'll put them into the same one. Basically, I decided to get back on the old Tinder and think. I actually went on OkCupid because I saw the Big Think thing of one of the founders, and he seemed like quite a cool guy, and I liked his algorithm idea, even though it's basically Tinder now. But it's got a little bit of an extra thing, and it's less. Man, I've got Tinder as well, just because I thought I might as well. And it's so dirty. I can't believe how. I mean, I don't have anything against it, but it's changed so much now. All the girls just have pictures of them in bikinis and like literally presenting, like the animalistic presenting, which is very welcome, but a little bit on the nose. So what else? And I started talking to some girls on OkCupid, which actually made me feel good a bit. So maybe it was. So I talked about how. Okay, so I think once you accept my axiom that your self-interest, your subjective experience is the only thing that matters, self-interest theory, Ollieism, ethical egoism, all that, and we also know that we're biological creatures, and we have inbuilt. This is something that occurred to me. I was watching a few David Attenborough things because they were on YouTube, and I can watch them at 1.5 times speed, and there was this one thing, this kind of wasp type thing that injects venom into or something, inject something into a cockroach's brain, which causes it to act a certain way, and then also lays an egg in it, basically zombifies the cockroach, so that the larvae can just feed off its insides in a burrow, and then the larva just gets born on its own and comes out and goes and off and does exactly the same thing. And I think when you realise that, I mean, obviously it's not the same life cycle as a human, but how would the wasp know how to behave and carry out the same? Because it's quite an intricate procedure. You have to inject the venom into the cockroaches, but it's not like they try out 10 billion different things and work out what they're meant to be doing. They know they have to they evolve. Oh, fucking hell, what am I doing with words? They grow up to know what they have to do to produce offspring. So it's obviously there's some ingrained thoughts and ideas. I know we've done but plenty of rat and mice studies that show similar results, and obviously we're much more closely related to them. But I don't see why you'd ever think that we could be so different as to be truly blank slates. We're somewhat blank. Where was I going this? Yes, so the ingrained things, I think one of them is, and this is obviously you always get outliers and overlapping normal distributions in all possible statistical anomalies, but not that an overlapping normal distribution is an example of a statistic anomaly, but I think it's fairly safe to say that social connections are something that makes your life feel good and gives you a good subjective experience. So there are some things that we know are likely to give you a better subjective experience than others, and the archetype fits into the archetype idea as well. If you fulfill the role of the hero archetype, you're probably going to feel pretty good. It's just the way it works, neurologically and societally. So also having relationships. So just me really talking to girls again, which I haven't done for a while. Even though I it's weird because I definitely was doing my fair bit of what's the word, bachelorship? I don't know. Well, that's probably the wrong word. Of talking to girls and doing pretty well with them in uni, and that was the time when I was. Although there was a bit of a change, but let's forget it. Maybe that was the cause. Maybe it was her. And I got caught up over her, and she got taken away from me. So yeah, definitely once the depression had taken hold, it fell to almost zero, and it felt pretty good to have a nice little flirty conversation, especially with one girl. It got very flirty and pretty enjoyable. So maybe that's another thing. So yes, I wonder if I should start the Life Worth Living Society. So you take all those things, it's just people helping other people to achieve their better subjective experience. So you get the community thing obviously inbuilt, because that would be the structure. So that one's already covered. But obviously, if you have good people in there trying to help each other, then get nice little symbiotics, positive sum relationships. There you go. And one of the things I've always had, one of the things that was a major cause of my depression, or just anhedonia, was the inability to want to do anything, right? But also the inability of knowing what to do. So I didn't want to do anything really. Well, I really wanted to want to do stuff, but there was nothing I wanted to do. So hopefully that would be something that they could organise. You could have little organised events, and once you get into it, it's kind of like a bit of CBT, isn't it? I'm just going to let that go now. That'll do. Just quickly, because it's going to get on my nerves if I don't get it in there somewhere. I think the scale of the balls that I was talking about should probably be around ping pong ball sized, something like that. They'd probably be about ping pong ball sized. Probably roughly ping pong ball sized. Although you could go smaller. And obviously the smaller you go, the less feet would be able to, the less bumpy it would feel, essentially. But also you could kind of manage that a bit by only exposing less and less of the top of the ball, but the more you do that, the less of the top of the ball you expose, and the bigger the gap between balls, and then the more likely you are, and also the less it protrudes out the ground, and the more likely you are to have traction with the the kind of mesh surface that has all the colander surface, the flat colander, has all the holes for the balls. It stops the balls just flying out. Okay, there we go, done.